Thank you for your interest in Bethlehem College and Seminary. My name is Zach Howard, and I am one of the faculty members here at Bethlehem. And I'm glad to have you join me as I give an overview of our college programs at Bethlehem. Bethlehem College and Seminary exists to spread a passion for the supremacy of God in all things for the joy of all peoples through Jesus Christ. And we do this by equipping men and women to treasure Christ above all things, to grow in wisdom and knowledge over a lifetime, and to glorify God in every sphere of life. The way we summarize that vision is as an education in serious joy. Now, this institutional vision means that our philosophy of education, the way we go about teaching and training men and women, that is aimed at shaping a certain kind of person for a lifetime. It's not aimed merely at offering technical or professional or career training. So one way to express that vision specifically for the college is this. We seek to educate students who graduate as mature adults, ready to witness for Christ with wisdom and wonder for the rest of their lives. Or to put it another way, the aim of our college programs is Christian discipleship, which is the formation of mature Christian adults that comes about through rigorous study of the great books in light of the greatest book, all for the sake of the Great Commission. That's what we're about here at Bethlehem. And we believe there's 5 ways that students will graduate as mature adults ready to witness for Christ. And so I want to talk about each of these 5 ways as an overview of our philosophy of education, what we do and why we do it. And then I'll get into more of the curriculum and other aspects of life at Bethlehem as a student. So first, we teach here Christian hedonism. Students become God-enthralled men and women who discover that God is most glorified in them when they are most satisfied in Him. And this happens by mining the treasures of the Bible and considering the wisdom of the great books, all in light of the greatest book. A second way we do this is with being intentionally small. Now, students here learn in a tight-knit community of students, teachers, pastors, and church members who share a deep personal interest in both the students' academic performance, but also their spiritual growth and maturity. The third way we accomplish this is by being a church-based institution. So students here study in the context of a globally minded church in the midst of a multi-ethnic urban center with significant opportunities for equipping and ministry. Fourth, we offer a demanding curriculum. Students are pushed beyond their sense of their own abilities. We want to push them even beyond what they think they can accomplish. And we do that by cultivating key habits of heart and mind and subjecting them to intentional stress testing designed to ensure that they graduate with a resilient faith that is ready to stand firm in the evil day and contend for the truth in the home, the church, and the world. And the last way we do this is by aiming to graduate students who are debt-free. And this is possible because a committed community of generous contributors demonstrate their confidence in this education by ensuring that every resident student receives a Serious Joy Scholarship that enables them to launch into life and ministry without student loan debt. Now, I'll be touching more on each of these as I go through the rest of the overview, but that's essentially what we're about here at Bethlehem in our college programs. So let me talk next about our curriculum. In most other college institutions, the academic core involves 2 years in many courses in meeting requirements in order to pursue your field of interest. Here at Bethlehem, your field of interest is engaged on the very first day of class and extended through 3 years of college core before you specialize in one of 3 areas. You can see on the right side of the screen those 3 specializations: theology and biblical studies, theology and global studies, and theology and letters. And those are all integrated into the core curriculum at Bethlehem. And then you can specialize at a bachelor's level or a master's level. And this is one of the other unique parts about how we've designed the curriculum at Bethlehem. You can come here and pursue a bachelor's degree in one of those 3 specializations and complete that in 4 years. And you also can stay for a 5th year and complete a second specialization at the master's level in just 5 years. So 2 degrees in 5 total years. So I want to give a little more detail about what happens in our core curriculum. You can see on the left side some of the different disciplines that are studied here at Bethlehem, from history all the way down to Hebrew. And so what I want to do is look at what we're doing here in some of our courses. But first, before I dive into the specifics of the courses, let me give a sense of the sorts of things we're reading here at Bethlehem. We read the great books that have stood the test of time. Now, the great books cannot save your soul. Only the greatest book, or rather the person revealed in the greatest book, can save your soul. Nonetheless, the great books still have great value in training us in ways of being human, in showing us who we are as individuals and groups. So Bethlehem, therefore, approaches the liberal arts as servants for guiding students to know and love God. So these great books that we're going to read here that are listed on this page, which you can find on our website, they are servants, means for guiding us to know and love God more alongside our study of Scripture. And we believe this sort of education inherently builds coherence because we believe all things cohere in Christ, as Paul says in Colossians 1:15. And the truth that students find in Plato and the patterns of thought they see in Cicero all ultimately point back to Christ, because in him are hidden all the treasures of wisdom and knowledge, which Paul says in the next chapter of Colossians. So we see at Bethlehem that theology is a unifying discipline that guides how we integrate the disciplines of history and literature and philosophy, math, and science. And this integration happens as students move through the curriculum in carefully sequenced courses. So let me show you one set of courses during the freshman year and how they're integrated together. So this is the fall and spring semester courses for every freshman who comes to Bethlehem. Notice that students read the whole Bible in their first year, and they read it in its historic and literary context. The Ancient Civilizations course in the fall semester freshman year is going to cover things like Gilgamesh, an ancient text that helps us better read and understand the Old Testament. And they're also going to be understanding ancient Greek literature. And now look at this spring semester when they're reading the New Testament and surveying its theology and the aspects of New Testament thought. They're doing that, students are doing that in the context of also reading about the Greek and Roman worlds, the Hellenistic era that informs the Koine Greek in which the New Testament is written, and all the authors of the New Testament. You notice also they have a course in classical philosophy and ancient Roman history and literature, which are also informing authors like Paul in his writing of the letter to the Romans. So all this is happening in a way where your courses aren't siloed and isolated from one another, but they're happening in intentionally integrating ways. And it's important to mention that another form of integration happens by design because we deliver all of this content to small cohorts of students where camaraderie is built across courses and across years during the students' 4 or 5 years here at Bethlehem. So that gives you some sense of what the classes are like here at Bethlehem. Let me say a little bit more about the sorts of habits of mind and heart that we're trying to cultivate in our students. Our chancellor, John Piper, describes a well-educated person as a person who has the habits of mind and heart to go on learning what they need to learn to live in a Christ-exalting way for the rest of their lives. That's what we're aiming at with these 6 habits of mind and heart that we're attempting to cultivate in every single course at Bethlehem. So such habits of mind and heart and the formation that comes from it refuses to privilege the mind or the heart. Rather, we approach the student as a whole person. We care just as much about what a student loves as we do about what they think. Teaching students to develop a life of the mind, to read well and widely, serves rather than short circuits properly ordered love for God and neighbor. Right thinking serves, we think, true loving. Yet training a student's mind and shaping a student's heart takes time and a people and a place. So one of the other important aspects of a student's experience at Bethlehem is the college house system. The college house system exists as another layer of discipleship at Bethlehem. And the house system is a group of 6 gender-specific, non-residential houses of 15 to 20 students. Each house is a coherent identity rather than a physical residence associated with a historical figure who represents values and ethos cherished at Bethlehem. You can see here figures like Augustine and Perpetua, Jonathan Edwards and Elizabeth Elliot, C.S. Lewis and Anne Dutton are the people that we are attempting to have our students model their lives after. So at Bethlehem, the house system is at the heart of student life. During a student's college years here, houses provide a consistent community. They offer a sense of identity and they cultivate a delight in friendly competition. So what are we after with students who come to Bethlehem? We've talked about how we want to graduate mature students who are ready to witness. And this gives you here on this page a profile of a Bethlehem graduate. We think those 5 key ways that I mentioned earlier make that possible. An emphasis on Christian hedonism, being intentionally small, delivering content in church-based context with a demanding curriculum, and all without the burden of student loan debt. And so I want to highlight that last thing I mentioned, student loan debt, as I close here. And we accomplish that through the Serious Joy Scholarship. Remember, I mentioned the committed community of contributors who believe in the school. Well, they also believe that graduating students without the weight of student loans is essential for students launching into life and ministry ready to witness for Christ. So Bethlehem has designed the Serious Joy Scholarship to achieve that goal. And we think this scholarship is increasingly important given the rising cost of higher education and also the ever-increasing burden of student loan debt after graduation. So the graphic on the bottom left demonstrates or tries to illustrate that a loan to attend a school with higher tuition, while it may require less or no cash from you as a student up front, it's not cheaper or more affordable in the long run. Because by the time you pay off that debt, you will have spent substantially more than you will at our low tuition, no loans school. And you can see the escalating cost at the top of the graph, and down at the bottom, I want to highlight the cost for Bethlehem, which now if you look at the graphic on the right, let me explain that there. It shows that every resident student costs about $16,000 in annual tuition. But every student receives the Serious Joy Scholarship of $10,000, meaning that it costs a student only $6,000 per year. Over a 4-year career at Bethlehem, to receive a BA is $24,000, or if you were to stay for that 5th year to receive both a BA and an accelerated master's, it would cost only $30,000. So we aim in all of this for our students to graduate ready to witness for Christ with wisdom and wonder for the rest of their lives, and we think relieving them of the backpack of student loan debt is essential for achieving that aim. So that concludes the overview of our college programs here at Bethlehem. Again, my name is Professor Zach Howard, and let me just say on behalf of the rest of the faculty and the admissions team that we are eager to hear from you, whether you would like to apply or would like to refer a prospective student.